Giggles and Gratitude. I'm Dina.
And I'm Tia. And today is September 15th, 2024.
Halfway through September.
I know.
I can't believe
Scary.
it. It is. Have you got your Halloween costume picked out?
I don't do Halloween.
I just said it to aggravate you.
I know.
Our listeners, if you're a regular listener, you know Tia does not like Halloween. She does not like the word fall. She likes the word autumn. So I know you're not a Halloween fan. That's why I said that. But this is something I don't know about you. I realized this morning when I was kind of getting my thoughts together. It is pumpkin spice season. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. So everything turns to pumpkin flavored stuff or pumpkin spice flavored stuff. So how do you feel about pumpkin spice? I want to know. The world wants to know.
Honestly, I like pumpkin pie.
But you don't automatically go out and think, oh, Starbucks says they're pumpkin spice.
I don't go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a flavored coffee anything.
So if you had an option to, I'll tell you some things that are available. You can tell me not whether you like them. But I thought, what is pumpkin spice? Pumpkin spice is not the taste of pumpkin. It's the spices that you would put in a pumpkin pie. What do you think's in pumpkin spice? What spices do you think?
I don't have a clue.
You know,
Nutmeg.
good. 4 more.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know spices.
Okay.
So
Cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, cloves, and allspice. And I thought, as I do, allspice. It's allspice. I mean, it's kind of like a really presumptuous spice. I mean, like, it's like, I'm all the spice. Or I'm all that in a bag of chips. Like a very egotistical spice.
are you going to tell us what it is? Or
Well, I Googled it, and allspice is actually a plant, a thing. It's not like all the spices or a bunch of spices together.
yeah, I didn't think it would be.
Oh, you didn't? You thought allspice was an actual thing unto itself? Not like, I'm all spice.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I did.
It tastes a lot like nutmeg, and you could actually replace nutmeg with equal amount. But allspice is made of ground berries from the Pimenta dioica tree. Dioica tree. I'll put it in the notes. I don't know how you say it. Its flavor is similar to that of nutmeg. Some pumpkin spices might leave out a spice or two, but you always going to have at least 2 or 3 of those spices above. So you could actually make your own pumpkin spice and, put it in a little shaker and put it on your stove just for the season. I think my sister loves pumpkin spice flavor, but I'm not really a big fan, but it's actually good for you, pumpkin spice. There's research that shows cinnamon. I mean, you and I both know cinnamon's good for you. It helps control your blood sugar, and nutmeg has a lot of fiber and vitamin B and minerals in it, so it's good for your heart. Vitamin A, B1, B6, C, copper, fiber, folate, manganese, calcium, lowers your blood pressure. So it's kind of good to get into it, I think, this time of year. So I'm going to tell you some things that are now pumpkin spice flavored for the fall and see if you would eat them. Pumpkin spice Oreos.
No.
Do you eat Oreos?
I'm not a big sweet eater.
Okay. Moon pie. Pumpkin spice moon pie.
No, but I used to love moon pies.
You like the chocolate or is that banana, the yellow one?
Banana.
I did too. Pumpkin spice Werther's originals, except pumpkin spice.
No.
I'm not a Werther's fan. I always think of a Werther's like being in the bottom of an old lady's purse with fuzz on the bottom of it, like where it's come open and she's like, "Here, you want some candy?" Pumpkin spice cream cheese. That sounds interesting to me.
Ugh.
Ugh, okay. Like mint Milanos, but instead they're pumpkin spice Milanos? No. Yeah, so we're not great pumpkin spice fans. I love the smell. I think it
Ooh,
smells
I do
good.
too. I love candle smells.
Yeah. Are you about to switch over to your autumn candles?
I can say fall now.
You can? You feel better about it?
Yeah.
That's good. Girl, you are just growing every day. Speaking of things to eat and not eat, how do you feel about cilantro? This is something I learned this week.
I put cilantro in my salsa.
Do you? When you make it, you choose to put it in there. Interesting. So what does it taste like to you?
I don't know. I can't really describe its taste just because it's just a different.
Just a unique taste unto itself.
Yes.
Okay. My mother can't stand cilantro. If we go to a Mexican restaurant, she says, try to get them not to put it in there. And I'm like, most salsa you buy has little pieces of it in there. You can't control it. But to some people, it tastes like soap. She says it tastes like dishwashing liquid to her. I can take it or leave it. I mean, it's fine. But I don't think it tastes like soap. But a lot of people do. And if you think cilantro tastes like soap, it's because you have one letter different in your chromosome 11. It turns out people who don't like cilantro, so some people have mutated, but the mutants are actually the ones who like cilantro. It's the people who don't like cilantro who are normal, original humans, because they've studied old human, I don't know if it's a prehistoric or whatever people, and they've discovered that their DNA is like people who don't like, I don't know who did this test, who did this study. I think it was the cilantro farmers of America.
Wow.
But it's actually normal to like cilantro. It's normal to think cilantro tastes like soap and to not like it. So we are mutants because we like cilantro.
Okay.
All right, that's just a little tidbit. And I did want to say to you, before we go into your special study today, I think that you're going to do, I mentioned last week the movie The Deliverance, which is very popular and everywhere and everybody's talking about it. It is not for kids. You know, I was listening to the show, our last Giggles and Grades, and I thought I made it sound like a good family movie that was spiritual. That's not what I meant.
No.
It's very graphic and gory.
Right.
Bad language. It's just good versus evil, which I was happy to see
Right.
that mentioned. So I apologize if you guys sit down with some popcorn and your kids this past week based on what I said, and you're like, cover your ears, cover your eyes, because it has got a lot of language in it. But all right, and we also teased, and if this is not right to you, you can let me know, that Tia is studying Max Lucado Bible study with his new book. What's it called? I'm sorry, my mind blanked. What's the name of the book?
The End Times.
The End Times. And then the study guide is called...
What? No, it's not. It's What Happens Next.
Okay. But isn't the book called something else? Or is the
It's
book...
What Happens Next.
The book and the study guide. Okay. And she is doing this course, and we will include a link. We recommend you get the book and do the course. But she's going to give us some takeaways for us to help us, and because she's a real Max Lucado, I won't say fan, I'll just say I tease.
No,
and
I
say,
am.
Yeah, but I mean
Totally.
He's a inspiration to you and a spiritual teacher, I guess I would
Yes.
say. I don't ever want to idolize
sure.
a person, but all right, T, I'll let you take if you want to do that. If you're ready to do that
Okay.
now.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not. I'm just going to give little tidbits.
Okay.
Okay. Because this is just a tidbit that really stood out to me just in the first session.
Okay.
And
well,
then
hopefully you're going to do it I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it with 6 sessions.
Oh, cool.
And but I don't want to give it all away because it's too good
Yeah.
to not just do it yourself.
Yeah, and he's taken all this time to write it and put it together, and we want
Exactly.
to encourage you to get it.
Okay. This is just the part in session 1 that really stood out to me.
Okay.
The painful truth for us as human beings is that our past and our present have been stained by sin. This cannot be denied. Just look at the news daily. Our world is a place of violence, fear, hopelessness, anxiety, greed, laziness, lust, and pride. That's just to name a few such vices. These things are not just out there in the general mill of humanity. We find them in here. We deal with them each and every day inside of our hearts. Yet the truth is, our past and present have also been touched by God's redemptive plan. He has opened the door for forgiveness and salvation. In doing so, He has recreated a pathway for us to rule once more. There is a forecast of reign, R-E-G-N, in our future. So that's the part that really, it's like he first starts out with all this, and you're feeling like hopeless. And then it's like he comes right back with, you know what? God's already given us, a plan for the future. So that again is just in session one. And I mean, I'd like to sit and just read the entire book just because it's so good. But you all need to get it and read it because it's just yummy. And then right after I had finished, I was actually in the middle of session two, and I came up on this, and this is by Allison Marie. And I was just thinking, wow, how awesome this was of her, because it kind of goes along with that. It says, I think part of trusting God is looking to the future with excitement, not worry and dread. We know He is going to work out everything for His good, and that is joy where it's found.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly. I like how Max tells you the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat it.
No,
but then he shows
doesn't.
you the hope.
Yes.
That's afterwards. I think so much of, I'm going to say preachers, I don't know, they want to tell you the good news and tell you what you want to hear, and let's just ignore all the hard truths and the facts. And,
right, and he goes right in for the juggler. I mean, he's like, he doesn't care. And I actually pulled up a whole lot of quotes from him.
Okay.
Do you want me to go
Sure.
through? Okay. Love like there's no tomorrow, and if tomorrow comes, love again. That's Max Lucado.
Yeah.
Oh, love him. Then, God never said that the journey would be easy, but He did say that the arrival would be worthwhile. Yumness. A woman's heart should be so hidden in God that a man has to seek Him just to find her.
Ooh. I need to put it on my dating profile. For sure. I mean, I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
Yeah, because that's...
Is that not beautiful?
That is one of... You know, I it's totally off subject, but we're going to be covering The Bachelorette coming up. We're going to Bachelorette, and I read the application to you that I'm going to fill in. I promise I have to get my passport updated. That's what held me back. I'm going to apply for whoever the bachelors are on this show. Mm-hmm. Whoever they choose from that would be the show that I would, if I got accepted, would be on. So I'm anxious to see who ends up being.
Ooh, I'm really anxious.
I know.
You know that's only in 3 days, right?
I know. I'm excited.
Does it come on the 18th?
Yes, it does.
That's what I thought.
And that one of the questions on the application is, what is a deal breaker for you? You know, this would not work for me. And one of my deal breakers was if the person is fully involved and dedicated to another religion besides mine, you know, with a totally different belief system. If they don't believe, I feel like that can be something that I can show this person. There's a potential there to believe. If they're Christian, that's good too. But if they were a totally different religion that they feel very strongly about, you know, I don't see that working, because I would want to go to church every Sunday and I would want to study with that person. So that would be my deal breaker. No offense to them. It's just, it's not, they're not going to be able to share the most important part of my life. So that's a great way to say that. You've got to get through God first to get to my heart.
Right.
That's good. I might use that on the show if I get accepted.
No, you do. And just say, well, this is what Max Lucado told me.
That's right. He's my dating coach.
Yeah, he's my dating coach.
So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I thought that's the perfect way to say that.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah. Because I don't want to offend people of other religions. It's just, for me, my heart, you've got to go through God first.
But I just think it's because a woman's heart should be so deeply hidden in God that a man has to seek God first before he finds her.
Totally. I love the way that's put. That's a perfect way to say it. That's not, like, I'm not
offensive.
Insulting you. I'm not insulting what you believe, but
exactly.
It's just a fact about my heart. Yeah, I love it, Tia. Thank you for that.
Okay, well, you're welcome. Okay, well, are you on the eve of change? Embrace it. Accept it. Don't resist it. Change is not only a part of life, change is a necessary part of God's strategy. To use us to change the world, He alters our assignments. And He does. Have you not had your assignments altered?
I have.
I know I have, for sure.
So, in other words, even if you're saved, it's not the change from becoming a non-believer to a believer. It's once you get into your walk with Christ, your assignments are going to change even after that. Is that what that's saying?
Right. It's like change is a necessary part of God's strategy to use us to change the world. He alters our assignments. So therefore, I think God uses you for sure in like with childcare at church on Sundays, because even you said that you were stunned that that little girl that had been like a pain in your bottom from the beginning was like, oh, I can't believe that this is our last day, Miss Dina.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. This is just a fun little funny thing, but my supervisor in childcare the other day said, Dina, I had a dream about you last night. I thought, oh Lord, what'd I do? She said, I dreamed that you came in here and we had 40 kids. Normally we have 13 to 15 in our classroom. She said, I dreamed we had 40 kids and it was just me and you. Nobody else showed up. And you were just your typical sunshiny, positive self. And you said, don't worry, we can do it together. And I said, oh, that really touches me that you described me that way. How did it go? And she said, it was a nightmare. It just turned into a mess. It didn't work at all.
And Dina, you laid on the floor with the children and started crying.
You had a temper tantrum.
But you were still smiling through the tears.
Yes, I think she thinks more. You were your typical Delulu self, and you thought it would be okay. It was not okay.
Wow.
I thought that was so funny. You know, Girls Gone Bible, we talk about them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something this week from them that said, you probably saw it too, when we're suffering, that's when we're learning obedience. Jesus learned obedience through what he suffered, so imagine how much we need to learn obedience. Suffering strips you of all your pride and independence, and you realize you can't do it without him. Mm-hmm. We talked about this before. You don't turn to God like you should when you're real happy. Sometimes you just kind of, hey, God, thanks for another day, and you're going about your day. But when you're suffering, you're like, oh, God, help me.
When push comes to shove,
yeah,
and you're backed up against the wall, that's when you're so far down, the only place to look is up.
That's right. That's right. And that's really what brought me back to God, because I had, like I say, I've said this before, I was not living, no one would be able to tell I was a Christian, even though in my mind I had been since I was a teenager. But when I went through so much change and awfulness in my life, that's when I was like, God, help me. You know, why am I going through this? I can't do this without you. So if you can think of that as a gift, at the time it's like a nightmare, whatever it is you're going through, but it does bring you so close.
The majority of the time you always see it on the other side.
Yeah.
And this goes right into that.
Okay.
God loves you just the way you are, but he refuses to leave you that way. Mm. He wants you to be just like Jesus.
Yeah.
That's Max.
So we're all going to have to go through suffering, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's good. I think it's good if we're being persecuted for good things rather than mistakes we made. You know, most of my suffering in my life has been stupid things that I did. But if we're suffering because of what we believe and standing on what we believe, that's really a blessing, I think. You know, it's hard to think about it that way, but...
No, it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think absolutely 99.9% of my suffering is due to my own ignorance or stupidity or...
Poor choices.
Yeah, poor choices.
Yeah. Or others' poor choices
in
your life. Yeah. Heidi Lee Anderson, she does little pieces of art and then puts messages on it. So you could actually frame... I don't know if she sells them or not, but she said... this is what my husband says to me every time I say the thing on the left, this is a visual, my husband says this to me on the right. So I'll put it in our show notes on our website, dinantia.com. I'm overwhelmed. Come to me, Matthew 11:28. And this is what God says, I should say. You say, I'm too tired. God says, I'll give you rest. Matthew 11:29. Nobody cares. I care about every detail of your life. Matthew 6:26-30. You say, this feels impossible. God says, all things are possible. Yeah, we all know that one. Matthew 19:26. I'm afraid. Fear isn't from me. 2 Timothy 1:7. So again, I think that would be a good little visual to hang up. I don't know if she sells them or not, but that's what her husband says to her when she comes home complaining.
No, I really do like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another Max.
Okay.
Okay, invest the time, write the letter, make the apology, take the trip, purchase the gift, do it. The seized opportunity renders joy. The neglected brings regret.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, I just think that all of us are probably somewhat guilty of procrastinating. And we just need to just do it because we might not have another chance to do it.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm a procrastinator, and when someone passes in my life, I always have regrets. I should have done this. I should have said this. What was the last thing I said to him? That kind of thing. And one time, on a Mother's Day, it was years ago, I thought about every mother that I had in my life, and I wrote them a letter and told them what I thought about them and things I admired about them. And I don't know what moved me to do it, but I'm not a mother, but I so respect good mothers. And so I wrote a letter to them and gave it to them on Mother's Day. And it just meant, and of course they're all tearing up, and it meant so much to all of them. And I thought, I've left nothing unsaid to all these people in case everything happened. It was just Mother's Day that prompted me to do it. But if you could do that for people, when you're moved to, just, this is what I think about you, and write it, like,
oh yeah, especially
so they have
write
something
it.
they can hold
Exactly.
and refer back to. Then you have no regrets. I think that's good if you can do it. It's kind of a lost art to write
To
down
sit
things.
down and write a letter and mail it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
Snail
great?
mail.
Yeah, on pretty stationery and
Yeah.
just for no apparent reason. Just
Oh, I agree 100%.
yeah. I mean, you and I always say, we say it on here, I love you, but we actually said that to each other last thing before we leave when we record. So you could actually say that's the last thing we said.
Right.
That's a good thing if you can do that with everybody. Some families are more demonstrative and show their emotions than others, so that could be really difficult for some families. They'd be like, I love you, but wow, what's about to happen? What are you going to do?
I know.
Are you okay?
What?
What did you do? Did you break?
That's true. That's absolutely true.
It's a shame, but it is the way it is.
Okay, can I do one last
whatever
one
you
with
want, honey.
Max?
Yeah.
Because love this. If our greatest need had been information, God would have sent an educator. If our greatest need had been technology, God would have sent us a scientist. If our greatest need had been money, God would have sent us an economist. But since our greatest need was forgiveness, God sent us the Savior.
Yes.
That
I
makes
love
me
that. I know
choke
you're getting
up.
choked up.
Did you see me? I mean, like, whew.
That is just perfectly said, though. I can understand why that would choke you up, but it's so true.
I know. I mean, because we all need forgiveness. And I mean, sometimes I just think that God keeps forgiving and keeps forgiving me. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to do that again.
Yes, you are.
And then I
Silly
do.
rabbit.
And then he's like, Tia, really? And I'm like, but, the good thing of it is he loves me as much today as he is ever going to love me. And he'll love me no less, ever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just sometimes I just get angry at myself because I'm like, don't repeat the same thing.
Yeah.
Silly.
How many times are you going to do that?
I know. Exactly. That's exactly what I think.
Good time he doesn't go like 3 strikes and you're out, because that would
wow.
be bad.
I'd been out a long time ago.
I don't know if we want to get into this or not. I don't know how far we'll go into it, but it's something that occurred to me. We need to do Tia time. All right. I don't know if it was last week's Tia time before. I'm sure you'll remember. You were talking about James, Jesus' brother, and how he didn't believe that. It took him a while to say, my brother is the Son of God.
Yes.
Can you imagine if your sibling said, oh, by the way, I'm the daughter of God? You're like,
right.
have you got a fever? Are you okay? Who do you think you are? It would not go over well. So it'd be like, I know him, he's like, he never made his bed. He always lost his sandals. There's no way he's the Son of God. But eventually it was proven to him through miracles and things like that. It's kind of a brief cliff notes of the story. But that caused my brain, and you know how my brain works, to think about Jesus' siblings. And you may or may not know the answers to these questions. I don't want to put you on the spot, but we can always research it later. But according to the Bible, Jesus had at least 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that to be
Mm-hmm.
true? James, there's a little, I found discrepancy a lot. James, for sure. Joseph or Hostus, Judas, and Simon, and the sisters were not named.
Right.
Some people were saying, and this might be controversial, I'm not trying to be controversial, I'm just trying to learn. There's inconsistent information that he had half-brothers. Like Joseph had children when he met Mary. In other words,
No.
Jesus would be the oldest.
No, Joseph did not have any children.
Okay.
If you're talking about who married Mary,
Mm-hmm.
okay, no, he had not been married before. I mean, him and Mary, I mean, she was a virgin, but obviously was immaculately conceived Jesus.
Right.
They had children after Jesus, but no, I mean, they're all his half. I mean, well, I don't know if they're even half.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
see what you're saying, 'cause
see,
they had this, yeah, because he was probably not
Joseph
technically
was not
related to, Jesus would not be related to his
dad.
dad, but his mother, I mean, if he was divinely created, he really
Right,
wouldn't have
his
his
womb,
mother's.
I mean, her womb carried him.
Yeah.
So,
It said that some church dogmas declare that Mary never had any other children because she was pure and a perpetual virgin.
mm-mm.
That can't be true.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Can't believe everything you read. Just go to the Bible and go find it.
Right. But I was just thinking about how funny, how much faith you would have to have this person you grew up with that probably you guys played outside. I mean, you think about Jesus as a little boy. I don't think of him as much as a little boy, but he was a little boy who...
I think of him as a little boy when he stayed at the temple and his mom and dad had walked, you know, and they were miles and miles away and they had to turn around and go back and get him. And, they were angry. They were like, why would you not, and where would you think I would be? In my father's house. Hello.
Okay.
And so at that point in time, he was probably 12.
So James and the other 7 are probably like, what is Jesus doing now? So what is he saying now?
Right, because, I mean, they all thought that he was crazy.
Right.
And the point of it is, he wasn't.
No, it turned out to be true, but
yeah.
I just think of that dynamic would be so interesting.
Yes.
Think about sibling rivalry. My goodness. I mean,
Exactly.
what is Brother Jesus doing now? So it's pretty amazing.
I wouldn't get caught up. I don't know where you saw that, but I would not. That, to me, I would never read anything that's found on the internet. Or I would never. I mean, if I'm going to find the answer I need, it's going to be in the Bible.
Right. And then I started thinking, too, you were saying, would it be step? It really would be step. In the end, it doesn't matter. It's why get caught up in the little minutia of family dynamics and all that. But it was just, I've always put myself in place of if I'd lived back then, who would I have been? Would I have been the stone throwers? Would I have been the believer? Would I have been the people who believed?
And then you've got people that will say, if I lived when Jesus was alive, I'd have absolutely zero trouble in believing. Yeah, you would. Yeah. Because even his disciples, even after he did miracle on miracle on miracle, after again and again and again, they still fell short on their faith.
Right.
Even Peter, even to the cross, he denied him.
Right. Right. And I think I would have been definitely, I'm going to say, I know I would have been one of those people.
I just think that Mary, the one that he healed, drove the demons out, she never, ever faltered after that point in time.
Right. I mean, I think one miracle and that'd be enough for me.
Well, you would think, but the thing of it is they still I mean, he had fed thousands, not once, but twice. I mean, they had seen him give sight to a blind man. They'd seen, a, a man that laid for 30-something years, just trying to get in the water because he was a crippled. And then, he said, get up and walk. Take your mat and walk. Well, what the what?
What else do you need, people? Of course, everybody, it's not like it was a little town and everybody was surrounding Jesus. Word of mouth had to go around and say, this is what I saw. Not everybody could witness all those miracles. So you just have to believe what you were told.
Okay.
And
what is it today?
Well, it's faith.
Faith is not by sight.
Right. True.
Okay.
I'd like to think I would have been convinced, but it scares me to think about
I
it.
totally would, but I think that it's more difficult today because we don't. I mean, we have the Holy Spirit inside of us. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, and that's why people say that we're weird and we're weak. No, we're really actually very strong to believe in a higher power because He is strong. We are weak. But we're not weak. We're not weak as humans.
Right. And then some people say, where's your proof? I mean, why didn't He write a guidebook for us to learn about? Scientists read books. I mean, it's right there.
I know. Right, it's in the Bible.
Yeah, and people will be like, I just don't know what to do to be happy. I don't know what to believe. There's so many different things. I'm so confused. I'm still searching. It's all right there.
It's all right there.
The best-selling book in the world.
Right.
And it's right there. What is he supposed to do?
Year after year after year.
If you don't like to read, there's audio. There's devotions.
You can get it on your phone, YouVersion.
Yeah, put in any question you want. YouVersion app's what Tia uses. We have the Bible recap. It's starting the New Testament. I can't remember, like October 5th. I don't want to say. I'll put it in the notes. Just read little bites of the Bible, and then you can listen to the discussion. You don't have to understand it. And the thing I was trying to think of a couple of weeks ago, the Girls on Bible said about, I read the Bible, I don't understand it, and I forget it. It's the comparison they used was, you ate breakfast last week, and you may not remember what you ate last Wednesday, but it nourished you. It affected your life, and it helped your body, it helped your mind, it helps you get through the day. So it's great to remember it, it's great to study it and all that, but do it anyway. Because it's going to nurture you and it's going to bring you closer to God. Even if you didn't understand it all, you question some of it like, well, that's insane. How did that happen? And
Billy Graham had questions. I mean, Dr. Jeremiah still has questions. Max Lucado still has questions. He'll say, do I understand every single thing in the Bible? Absolutely not. Yeah. But do I understand enough to know where I'm going? And where I'm going to spend my eternity? Right. Yes, I do.
Right. I just want anybody who feels discouraged and thinks, everybody else is getting all this from the Bible and I'm not understanding it. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't feel like a failure. Dive into it every day. As long, you can't dedicate as much time as you want to it, but find your quiet place, study, Google things, because there's so much resource now of people on YouTube.
But don't Google things like you do.
How many brothers and sisters you had?
No.
Yeah, I know. I think that comes from people using Mary as somebody to pray to and a statue, icon and all that. They want her to be a virgin, and that gets all convoluted, and we don't want to get people divided here about that. But it's just a question I thought. If my sister had said she was the daughter of God, I probably would have just thrown a Barbie at her or something like, get out of here.
Of course you would have.
So it took a lot of faith, but we're so lucky now that we have so much to study and so much documentation and historical buildings and things, artifacts and things that that Jesus was on earth.
But He also gave us people aforementioned that helps you understand the Bible. Exactly. I mean, just puts it in just such cut and dry that's so easily understood. Like Dr. Jeremiah, Max Lucado, Lisa Harper, Sheila Walsh. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The Girls on Bible. I mean, wonderful, wonderful outlet. There's podcast after podcast after podcast.
Right.
So.
And there's us too, just here to totally confuse you.
Yeah. If you listen to Dina, kidding. I'm kidding.
No, it's fine. All right. We better get to Tia time. I love you, Tia, and I can't wait to hear next week's little takeaway from Max. You said it'll be 5 more lessons then after today, right?
Yes.
Thoughts after
And
today.
I love you, little one.
Yeah. And we'll be doing, totally off topic, the Golden Bachelorette recap this week. Starts on the 18th. That'll be fun. That's just a little guilty pleasure goofiness. Don't participate.
It's Dina's guilty pleasure, not mine, said the animal.
You'll have fun with it, though. I know you will. Just looking for love.
Okay. In all the wrong places.
Definitely the wrong place. All right. I love you, Tia.
Love you, darling.
All right. Tia time sets. Bye.
Bye. Hello, and welcome to Tia Time. Today, my Tia Time is from YouVersion, and it's entitled Learning to Live Humbly. Have you ever met an angry Christian? You may have come across Christians who love to grumble, complain, or even speak harshly about other people. Maybe you've been that person at times in your own life. If we're not careful, we can easily become self-righteous within Christianity. After all, we know the truth and others may not. You might see how tempting it can be to look down upon other people, demean them, or consider them as worse off than ourselves. But this misses the point of the gospel of Jesus. The gospel tells us that all of us begin at the same starting point, and it's only through grace that we have come to salvation and learned the truth about God's love for us. That doesn't make us any better than other Christians. In fact, as Paul says in Ephesians 4:2, we should actually be humble and gentle with others rather than harsh and critical. He says we are to be patient with one another, helping one another in every way that we can so that we can all grow together. These ideas aren't original to Paul. They actually came from how Jesus lived his life. As followers of Jesus, we too should strive to be gentle, humble, and patient with everyone in our life. Regardless of whether they look or think a different way, every person deserves dignity, patience, and love. Take some time today and think of a few ways that you can grow in patience, humility, and love with others. It could be slowing down long enough for people to know you care, saying something encouraging to someone, or admitting to someone that you've made a mistake. What will you do today to show humility and grace to others? Okay, well, this one really got me because I do try to show humility and grace to others, but sometimes in life, things can get so busy that you really just don't think about it as much as you should. So, everybody just give that some thought and do what you want with it. And I hope everybody has a blessed day.